really want to have Harry, Harry for far better man because I wish I had that problem. I wish it was like good food that like I just couldn't eat because I would get sick.
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm gluten intolerant. And it's even like fine, I'm used to it. It's okay. Yeah. Used to eating a burger with a pipe. But every now and then you want my 25 selection like that. Damn. I like this is literally continue. So I want to okay, well help me understand. You know, we're talking. So for months. She's absolutely amazing. I'm like, well, this is fabulous. And she goes, okay, now I need you to go back on it so that we can take you in and when we get the celiac test. Like, no, I'm not doing it. So there's a solid chance I'm actually testing because I don't want to put myself. Good, if you don't work. I think that's it. Like, get a diet. It would be more like that. Like crapshoot, they're now starting to say, call it, put it in the grave. Like, say tomatoes a fruit. I know, it's kind of like that. No, yeah, it's just like, wait. Actually, it was Nick. He's like talking about something, like saying something his doctor said, and I was like, no, they're wrong. They're wrong. I don't really have the authority. So like, celiac, and we drink Grey Duck vodka, which is certified like gluten free because it's made from corn. Sure. And he's like, took a picture and said, he goes, Mom, look at this. And it said, processed through grain. What the? Started. Consider corn. But it doesn't matter. I feel like a grain has that gluten. That makes sense. Yeah. Graham.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want it. But I can only eat lunch. Yeah.
Back away.
Yeah, environment. Yeah. And I didn't get my 30 grams of protein in because I decided to. No. Well, I don't know what it's like. I get all that fried. Not Saturday night, actually, what I think, but I hadn't used it. Yesterday we thought the class was up. I just came here this morning, like, please don't fall out that chair. And stuff right there. That was like a chair. Yeah.
That's indeed. I mean, oh, free stuff. It's free, it's deep.
You're on time. In June, 4th of July.
Are you doing that?
Yeah. We said that. I didn't see you the college. You might hear it, I don't know. Hey, I just got I know. Just sat down in the seat. Okay. I feel really great with letting it.
Oh, she's getting good at it.
Yeah, and never tell them. Oh, you. They were like so. They have to party. What? New music. You actually do. Right? Do I need to choose a mic? Yeah. Otherwise, they can't hear us. Like, no? Sure is. Hi, Zoom world. All right, guys, it's 11:30. We're gonna get started on time, and everyone who's here on time, from now on, we're gonna start doing a drawing for a giveaway. And so you're here on time, you have to be in the room, give us a business card, write your name on a piece of paper, I'll take that too. We'll do a drawing for a giveaway. Today's giveaway is a Starbucks gift card, and the winner is. This is really hard to do. You cannot put it out in the world like that. Yeah. He did, man. All right. Well, welcome to the team meeting this morning. I'm your guest host today. Nick is off today, or out, I should say. So I get to fill in. Exciting stuff. All right, we'll go next slide. All right, Mark, ask for Mark for breakfast. There's plenty, so we have lots of donuts. So you grab
Take
one.
some donuts home.
Grab a second.
Yeah, have a third, have a fourth, take some home, there's lots of donuts. Morning, everybody. So I'm actually here, I'm not gonna talk about Pillar, because guess what, big title. And you know who I am, you know what I do, but I also do something else, and Pillar encourages me to do it. It's about being a part of the community, it's about giving. And so today we're going to talk about SPAR. And I'm on the Charitable Foundation. And the Charitable Foundation is part of your Realtors Association. And we gave $100,000 to Spare Key this past year to raise money to help those who may have gotten sick and can't pay their bills. And what we're doing is, if you give, we'll match at Charitable Foundation. You give $5, we're gonna make it $10. You give 10, we're gonna make it 20. We're gonna make that money go even farther. So I give you all a flyer there, and it explains what it's a little about, and then you can just hit that QR code if you want to make a donation. I don't know if any of you know Candace Atkinson. She was a Keller Williams Maple Grove agent. She was not in the brokerage, but she's a good friend of mine. Her son just recently became very ill and had a stroke at 12 years old with a brain aneurysm. Those bills are expensive. It happens like that. And so it can happen to anybody. Spare Key helps pay the bills. If you have a mortgage payment that needs to be made, Spare Key helps make that mortgage payment. It helps pay the electrical bills, helps pay any other bills, gas bills. And so through SPAR and the Charitable Foundation, we want to keep that going and be a part of the community that we all live in. So if you feel inclined to help give, then give. And you don't have to do a lot. 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, whatever you want to give. And remember, the charitable foundation is magic. So thanks, appreciate it.
Okay, next time. Oh, okay, well, we're gonna pivot. Because Nick is our dialogue guy. I guess thing, just not that one. Nick's our dialogue guy, so he's back. He can go through that activity with you. But what I wanted to start with, before we get into stuff, as I was thinking through it, I'm like, well, just do something this time. Like, great, that's awesome. So what I thought about is, what do I feel like I need right now? And does anybody ever have those days where they wake up and they're like, I don't really want to do this? I don't, anybody? Oh, just me? I'm the only one? Oh, okay, goodness. Okay, I was like, ooh, awkward. So as we talked, one of the highest forms of energy, learned this in Bold, we'll talk a little bit about Bold later too, is gratitude. So, and whenever you're feeling kind of down, is focusing on gratitude, which is kind of hard. What am I grateful for right now? And for me is great for me personally right now is having a great opportunity, getting to be a part of this market center, growing my skill set over these last 8 months now already. Well, that can be a challenge and really frustrating. It's been a really great opportunity for me to be here. So that's something I'm grateful for. And I would love to hear from you guys what you're grateful for, whether it's something that's going on in your life, a big win, somebody in this room, somebody not in this room you're grateful for. I'd love for you to share. I'll jump at once. You just want a gift card, but you can be grateful for that. Yeah.
Grateful for manifestation.
Hey.
Taking things in and getting this gift card from that. So I'm thankful for coffee because without it, I don't know how I could go on. Thank you.
I'll make this weird and awkward.
My favorite.
I'm grateful for this office and for each and every one of you in this room and for anyone on Zoom and just how welcoming and wonderful you guys have all been. It feels like I've been here a lot longer than I have. So I'm just already really grateful for the relationships I have here and just how wonderful you guys are. And we have a really awesome. Thank you.
Mark Allen.
Yes, so I'm grateful for it. I like you, Rachel, woke up a little tired this morning and, I got here and I got to spend a few minutes with Jeanette and I just spoke to Dorina and, I'm just grateful for everybody that's here. It's a welcoming office. Like Emmy said, it's, you know what? I woke up tired. I'm not anymore. And it's because of this office. So I guess I'm grateful for that, for everybody here and being welcoming place. So I'll second what you just said.
Rachel, Emmy, and Claire. You guys have brought a whole new fresh dynamic to our office, and it's really great.
Very welcome.
I'm grateful for Lisa. She's always very nice and kind to my client. And that's very happy with my business. And also I thank Mark, who is one of my regular lenders, and he's great job. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, well, you all have to be grateful for somebody who's in this room, Lynn, because you're going through really big changes here starting in a couple days, and she's definitely guiding us through that. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Florence today, right?
Today at 2:00. And I want to thank everyone who came to the Zoom last week. We had some good agents, and really how I presented it, and I plan on presenting today, is about 20 minutes of how to fill in the blanks. But it needs to be a mastermind because you guys got the best creative mind. You say I'm compliant. You have really good minds. skill set. And I feel like I'm with you, and I need your input, you need my input, and this is gonna work. I did post on the Rockstar page, the fact sheet from NAR, it reads really easy. It actually reads like, I have a question, and you click on that question and it's a drop. You don't have to go through the whole thing, it might not all apply to you. But it's written at about a 5th grade level, so it's easy to read. Take time to read it. Your career is worth a half hour. But please, come join us at the Forbes class today. Totally Zoom, won't have any speaker problems.
Thank you, Liz.
Or being tech problems.
Okay, next slide. All right, Bold is coming up. If you haven't heard us talk about it already, do you want to stand up here and talk about it?
Doesn't matter. Can you hear me?
Well, we can.
Internet peoples.
Internet.
What do you want to know about both?
How many times have you done Bold?
I've done both 12 times.
So why number 5 to 12? I feel like I hear people have done it 2, I've done it 3, I've done it 4, maybe 5. I don't hear a lot of people go past. Why 12?
I like to do it every fall, because it kind of sets me up for the first quarter.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, I think, in the fall would rather take time off. And instead I commit. I've done that, like I say, almost
12 years.
So it energizes me going into that first quarter. I think, Sean, you agree with that one too. We talked about it. So I highly recommend doing it. If you have any questions, ask.
So do you do every training necessarily learn something new, or is there something you're looking to take out of it that might be different?
Every time. I mean, the market changes every year. So the presenters are from different areas, which I think is really cool. Florida, we've had a couple from Florida, but it kind of gives you an idea of what's coming in our market too, because theirs changes usually before ours. So yes, I want to learn something every time, maybe some new techniques. Mostly it's to energize me.
Yeah, I would agree. And you hear that a lot of times, that it's like, oh, I've already heard it. Somebody, of course you've already heard it. And you know, you get busier when you're doing both, right? As most people do, and then it kind of makes this dip again. It's getting back into that weekly coaching and accountability with your team.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Any question? Anybody who has taken in this room so far? Good chunk of almost everybody. Any questions or any other feedback you guys have on the goals? It's coming up in October. First step.
You would.
Is there anyone that wants us to sign them up right now?
Rena, perfect. Anybody on the internet? Feel free to comment. We can get you signed up. So there we do have a sign up in the back. We're doing Bold Bucks this time, so a little bit different. So if you attend a training, you get $25 in Bold Bucks training, meetings, all those kinds of things, up to $200. So 8 trainings between now and the time we start. Pretty doable. So if you're considering being Bold, just put your name on that. Not completely being in Bold, but it's tracking, because that's how we're gonna know whether or not you do. So versus like, hey, I want to sign up, but I've been at the last one. I don't put your name on that sheet. So get your stuff on there. Sure that you're being tracked. If you decide the day of first step that you want to do it, you know that's got for your Bold Bucks. Perfect. Any questions about Bold? Great. Next slide.
Here he is. Hi.
School supply drive. Who gets, oh, absolutely.
Hi. Well, some of you might have seen me around. I'm pretty new. I'm on the Corby home team. So a little background on myself. I'm a full-time youth and family advocate at the Bridge for Youth, and I'm an on-call advocate at the Young Shelter. So I've been working with kids for 12 years. And I'm doing the school supply drive for Little Canada Elementary. Both my kids graduated from there. And it will be going all of August. And there's a bin at the front, right by the front desk. There's a flyer right above it. And we'd appreciate all the help you could get. So I've been volunteering with Little Canada all through their schooling, and then I volunteer after, for recesses during the school year. So yeah, they love any help they could get. I know school supplies were expensive when I was getting them, so I can imagine they're
Oh my God.
really expensive now. So there's a lot of kids and families that, between school supplies and clothes are struggling. So any help we could get.
Is there anything in particular, I mean, I see in very small print. I don't see anything in particular that you need the most?
Just most of the items on the list. I just got a couple backpacks and I kind of kicked off the drive myself. I got a couple backpacks, crayons, highlighters. Yeah, most of the items that's on there are the most sought after.
And then I will actually. Microphone. That if you don't, this is for the moment, if you don't have time to go run and grab school supplies, feel free to email me at the KLRW 427 email. If you want us to add money to your invoice, we'll raise some money and then we can go shop and drop some stuff in the basket too.
Nice.
So
Thank
if you
you.
have time to do that, feel free to shoot me a message, say I'd like to donate 5, 10, 20, whatever. And then we can go from there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Alex, come on down. We can find you a walk-up song, I feel like.
All right, so we did this event for coaching Buyer Palooza. It was really, really good, provided a lot of value after talking to the agents, and now we're opening it up to the entire brokerage. I know, look at these shorts, by the way.
Yeah.
Aren't they wonderful? Just had to throw that out there. So this is open to all agents, and it's actually going to be extended another hour because we're going to have Sean and Marty come in and teach you through command how to build a buyer presentation. So don't miss it. Sign up. It's on the 21st from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock. Again, open to all agents. Second of all, just completely random, but if anyone plays Monopoly Go in here, please invite me. Invite me as a friend. Just throwing that out there. I found a couple people that are agents, and I'm like, heck yeah, I want to play with you. So throwing that out, Monopoly Go. Yeah, it's online. It's an app. It's so much fun. So anything from Monopoly Go for promoting that either.
Friends, basically.
I mean, kind of, but like, just check it out. It's really fun. That's all I got. Please sign up. This is gonna be awesome. Lynn's gonna be here. Mark's gonna be here. Janet's gonna be here talking from an agent perspective. Don't want to miss this, okay?
All right, our main event. So we are excited to have Bethany Nelson here. I don't know Bethany, she's a mega agent out of the Minnetonka office. Also has been a team leader and runs a large team there. So a lot of passion with wealth building and serving her community. I had the opportunity to be with Bethany on a bold table once, which was great. And so I'm excited for you all to get to learn from her. So Bethany, come on up. So this helps the people online here. You'll just have to project it.
Is Nick joining us or no?
He is not going to be joining us.
Okay,
Did he have a role in this?
you had just sent me questions I was supposed to answer, but we can roll with it differently. That's totally fine. It's okay. I got it. Not a big deal, promise. Okay, my name is Bethany Nelson. Good to see you here. I have been in real estate. I think I've grown up within the Keller Williams system. I got into dating in 2011. At 22 years old, and I worked like I was 16. So over the past years now, I've played many different roles in real estate, from the agent to being on someone's team. Todd Clay is actually a huge influence in my career, which he knows some pretty stories that should just stay between us. But one time we went to a house that was really growing marijuana. This was new in my career. And afterwards, the comment Todd made with the serious face ever was, do you have munchies? Oh my God. Anyway, okay. As Rachel said, I've been a Keller Williams team leader for 2.5 years, transitioned out of that role back in 2019. And ever since then, have experienced my first pandemic and regrowing a business, which has been interesting. So when Emmy and Nick reached out, asked me if I were going to share a little bit today, this is a topic I'm passionate about. And so, especially since Nick isn't here to ask me questions, I just want to like set the stage for it's a little intimidating even still to like look out at a room of people and have everyone be really just stoic. So if you have questions, please ask them. And we're gonna have some fun talking about wealth building. So one of the things that they had asked were, what are your top tips for someone that wants to grow in their real estate career in regards to wealth building? So one mistake that I made, I'm gonna share a lot of mistakes with you today in the hopes that they help me not make a mistake, is that I did not run my business like a business. And there's a lot of lessons from that, but the first thing that now anyone that partners with me and joins our team today, we actually ask them to set up their LLC before they get their first commission check. That is so important because it sets the stage for this period. This is not a side hustle. This is your full-time career. It is not hard to do. You can do it on LegalZoom if you want to, but set up an LLC. Then you're going to go to your preferred bank. I personally prefer credit unions, and you're going to set up business checking. Now, I do not have business debt, and I am very passionate about that. I do not have business credit cards. Some people would say that's stupid, and I'm leaving points on the table, but I choose not to get into business debt. I choose to run a very profitable business. So you're going to set up your checking account, and I'm going to run you through what's called a profit first model in a little bit. But you're going to set that checking account up. Then you're going to go talk to your office staff, and you're going to give them that account information, and that is how your checks are going to be deposited, and you use your debit card to pay your bill. I see too many realtors walking around trying to look rich and impress people that actually don't matter, and no one is talking about how to build actual wealth in real estate. So number one, run it like a business. Number two is to run it like a business, you need to have a P&L. And I don't know about you, but sitting down and entering my receipts, I want to poke my eyeballs out. So I really believe your first hire in real estate shouldn't be an admin, it should be a bookkeeper. If you aren't managing your books, it doesn't matter. Hire a bookkeeper or find someone in your life that's actually really good at QuickBooks, and it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. And then third is to be investing in real estate. Just curious, there's no judgment in this question. How many people in the room own real estate outside of your primary residence? Awesome, love. How many of you wish, can you think of a property that you sold that you today go, shoot, I wish I would have held on? Awesome. Okay, me too.
You should ask Todd about that.
Oh, I'm sure. We should probably leave him out of it. I already told him today. Okay. Any questions on those three things? We're going to talk about more than those three, but those would be the three that I think are the most important. Any questions on those? Cool. Okay. So profit first model. So I'm going to teach you this, which is when your commission comes into your accounts, when you go set up your business account. Can I use a marker on here? Yep. Okay. So when you set up your accounts, this is how they look. And actually my entire real estate team does this too. So first you're going to set up a checking account called income. So when your commission checks get deposited, the entire amount is actually going to go into this account. This account though is always going to carry a balance of 0. Then you're going to go set up a savings account. Now, when you do this, the banker's going to look at you like you're crazy. Doesn't matter, okay? Then you're going to set up a savings account called profit. Then you're going to set up a savings account called taxes. Then you're going to set up another checking account called owner, comp. And then lastly, you're gonna have a checking account called OpEx or operating expenses. Okay. So when the income comes in, you're gonna divide it into these different accounts right away, or you do it once a week, you kind of create a cadence for yourself. So sidebar, who in here is on a team or has a team? Okay, awesome. And how many of you, if you're not on a team, you understand the concept of team, correct? Like, does anyone have questions on real estate team structure? Okay, I'm gonna speak this to my team. I hope I don't offend anyone that is on a team or leading a team. On my team, the splits are 50-50, okay? Now, the value proposition I share with my agents, or when I'm recruiting agents to our team, is that your 50% is truly your 50%. I'm carrying the burden of staff that we have, marketing that we have, all of that is my expense. So depending on if you are on a team or not, the percentages I'm about to share with you might be different, is why I'm sharing that. Yeah, what is the last one? OpEx stands for operating expenses. Yep, thank you for asking. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you, when I first learned about this model, there's actually a book called Profit First. I am not the genius that came up with this concept. And in the book, he talks about, and maybe you can relate, where people will get their 1099, they get their P&L at the end of the year from their accountant, and they're like, congratulations, you made $75,000 as profit. And you look at your checking account and there is not $75,000 sitting there, right? And you're like, what the heck happened? So at the moment that I was reading this, I was actually in 4 years of tax debt. I was not in a good financial place. I did not set my business up to be a business. I was not running, I was selling real estate. And from the outside, if I had a one-on-one conversation with you, you would have thought things were peachy for me. They weren't, which is what has made me passionate about sharing this and talking about it. So in the book, he talks about, even if your profit percentage can only be 1%, choose to do the 1%. So at the time, what I did is the income would come in. So for easy math, can we just use a $10,000 commission check? So the $10,000 commission check would come in. Let's say between my cap and royalty, what actually came into my income account was $7,500, just for easy math, okay? That cool with everybody? So income, $7,500 comes in. 1% of $7,500 is what? 75. So $75 would go into the profit account. Now, does anyone think $75 is life-changing money? The answer is no, but it starts to accumulate. And if you stay true to not touching it, it goes quickly. Today, my profit and most of my team members' profit percentages are 10%. So just throwing that out there. If you're not in a hole like I was, that's what I would do. Next, you're gonna take taxes. Now, big disclosure. I am not an accountant. I am not giving you tax advice. But in my experience, if you do everything that I'm gonna share with you today, you usually only need to put 20% in here. Now, it does not hurt you to put more versus less. So if you're more of the like conservative financial person, I would probably put 30. But how I do it now is I put 20% in here. So this could be anywhere from 1% to 10%. Taxes is, we're gonna just say 20%. Now, owner compensation. That means what you're actually paying yourself. So again, what I tell my agents on my team is, hey, when you partner with me, your split is 50-50, but your 50% is actually your 50%. Like you're taking that home. So most of my people put themselves on like a 60% or more here because their operating expenses are almost nothing. So this is going to depend on if you have operating expenses or not. At a minimum, if I were a solo agent, I would have my owner compensation be 40%. Okay, here's why. So I'm just going to do it this way. This is how I personally would really do it if you're starting from like scratch. 10% profit, 20% taxes, 40% going to you in your own payment to yourself, and then 30% in operating expenses. Are we still doing a wealth building class after this? Great. Okay, if you stick around for wealth building, we're gonna dig into this more. But here's the thing to think about. If you pay yourself 40% on this, so someone do the math for me. 7,500 was 40% of that.
About 3,000.
750 times 4. 3,000. 3,000, great, okay. So here's what gets fun, is when you're trying to figure out how many closings do I need to have per month to afford my lifestyle? Well, maybe $6,000 covers your mortgage, your car payment, whatever those things are. Maybe it doesn't. So maybe then you need to do 3 transactions to get to 9,000. Does that make sense? Your goal is to live off of this money, because we all know Uncle Sam's coming for his. Okay, so we can't spend his money. Profit. The reason a lot of realtors are broke is because the minute we get a $10,000 commission check, we will spend it. I don't know if you can relate to this, but I can stretch $1,000 and I can blow 10. Like, it is like, what can happen? Right? So I personally, just a trick of mine, I actually hide my money from myself. I bank with Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, and I literally have different accounts for personal stuff, my business, my rental properties, and then I have a 4th account number that I actually don't know, and I purposely don't know, and I do not have an online banking set up. I have to call them. I make it really hard on myself. I transfer money into it. I cannot get the money back out. I'm just being transparent, guys. Like, this is what I've had to do for myself. So the profit goes in there. The profit is then what I use. I do not touch, and I use that to invest in real estate, stock market, financial instruments, etc. That is what has propelled my financial trajectory significantly just in the last 3 years. Your OpEx. Here's what I see a lot of realtors do. Maybe you can relate, maybe not. I hope not. We fight over the tab because we say it's a tax write-off. We make decisions because we say it's a tax write-off. Now, do you actually know, if you pick up the tab for coffee, what percentage of that check can you write off? Correct. Question is actually asking a question back, which is having coffee with a client, which is that's who it is, it's 50%. You're having coffee with someone that you could employ, or that's an educational reason. Like, if I take my staff to coffee, it's actually 100% write-off. But this number, you have to, I believe, create boundaries around it. So if I want to go invest in an event or sponsor something, I have to make sure that that fits in the budget, or I just don't. Questions on any of this? We good? We're overwhelmed. I'm gonna look at the questions that were sent to me. I'm like, where's my phone? So one thing that they asked me to touch on just in the meeting was just kind of how I built my team and why I call myself a real estate wealth advisor. So if we ever email, my email signature says Bethany Nelson, realtor and real estate wealth advisor. Here's where this concept came from. There's no special designation for that, by the way. And I have checked, it's not illegal for you to say that. But I have this belief that we as realtors don't take our job as seriously as we should. We help people purchase the most important investment of their lifetime. Where they bring their first baby home. It's where they create memories, where they go to bed. And yet these investments are hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And I was thinking about this concept when I was investing in financial instruments. So I want to run you guys through an exercise. So I'm going to have you all take out a piece of paper. And here's what I want you to do. $401k versus real estate. Okay. And it's just, by the way, I run my clients through this exercise all the time. So if I'm sitting down with someone and I say, what are your wealth building goals for the next a year. And they say, I want to grow my net worth by $100,000. Okay? Let's actually make it even simpler than that. They say, I want to have, I have $100,000 to invest. And I want to make the right decision on how I invest. Okay. They're like, well, my employer is pushing the 401k, my dad's sure makes a lot of sense. Okay, awesome. So in either scenario, they have $100,000 to invest. That money does not change. Okay. With the 401k, when you invest $100,000 in 401k, 12 months later, what roughly do you think could happen?
Could go down.
Could go down, could go up. We don't know, right? We actually have zero control over what happens in 401k, right? Okay, so no control. And arguably, let's just say the market went up a little bit, then it came back down. Arguably, at the end of the year, we could very well just have $100,000, right? Okay, awesome. So I'm having a conversation with Mark, and Mark says the exact same thing to me, and I go, great, Mark, are you open to another option? Absolutely, awesome. What if I found you a property and you put that $100,000 into the property that you own, we help you find a tenant? Well, yeah, that sounds amazing. Okay, great. With $100,000, what price point roughly, don't get too analytical on this, what price point roughly can Mark buy an investment property for? $400,000. How we got there, 25% that you need to put down if you are not going to own or occupy the property, okay? $400,000 investment. Now, Mark, do you get to pick, and Mark, play along with me if you would. Do you get to pick which property you close on?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you get to pick your tenant?
Yes.
Okay, and then do you get to pick what updates you might do to the property that could also reduce your taxable income?
Yes.
So would you agree that you have way more control over an investment property than you do a 401k?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you have control. And at the end of the year, Mark, you now own a $400,000 asset that, yes, you have a $300,000 lien against, but that someone else is paying off. Cool. Which one would you prefer? Yeah, me too.
Option 2.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is the other tool I use when I'm having these conversations with clients is I have a compound interest calculator on my phone. If you don't have one, go download it, they're free. I think the one I have is called Compounder. And here's what I do. When I'm having these conversations with clients that start to get a little unrealistic about what their money can buy them, is I go, listen, I know you can buy your dream home. And I'd love to sell to you. But everything we're looking at, like in my buyer consult, by the way, I show people sold way more than I show them active. Why? I'm setting the stage for what they should expect. We spend too much time being like, where do you want to live? And is a fence important to you? No, they can put a fence in. We need to show them this is what's realistic for the areas that you want to be in. This is what's sold. So of the 10 solds I just showed you, which one would you buy? Okay? They can't buy it, but I want to know which one they would. And then I get my compound interest calculator out. I go, guess what? You only have to live in the property a couple years. And we could show you how to pull the equity out. Go buy something else, and this is a rental. Okay, when the note is paid off in 30 years, let's look at how much it'll be worth. And I use an average of 4% on the Compounder app, and it's wild. That gets people excited. It also changes their mindset about the first property they buy. So I built my business off first-time home buyers. If you're new in the business, that is the best, in my opinion, way to start your business is focus on first-time home buyers. But that is also the toughest group to win in multiple offers. They usually don't have a lot of cash to put down. You have to educate them on this is not a forever home, this is an investment. Any other thoughts on this? Cool. I'm like trying to focus on the clock and make sure I don't run over for your team meeting.
You got time.
Okay, cool. All right. So I guess the last question, then I'm just gonna open the question, like, things up to the room. The last question was just, what does female empowerment look like to me? Just being a female leader in real estate. And here's what I'll say is like, I actually hate the term like boss babe, like when you hear people use those terms or there's like images online about it. Because I don't think it should be like, me being a woman shouldn't be the highlight. Like that shouldn't matter, in my opinion. Over the last 13 years, I've watched a lot of incredible stories of people that are incredible producers. And what I have noticed is usually the top team leads are usually male, self-aware of that. But I don't think that empowerment needs to just be about why you're different, whether that's your gender, your race. Did you actually know that the average realtor is a 58-year-old divorced white woman? So I just joke that I'm not average, and I just get my first divorce. So we're doing okay. But as far as like being a female in this industry, what I will tell you is I don't think it needs to make or break anything, and that actually doesn't need to be highlighted. One of the other pieces I'm really, really proud of is 2 of the women on my team make over $130,000 and they work less than 30 hours a week. And that's their take home. And they drop their kids off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon. And those are the things that I think we should be focusing about. If we want to talk about women in real estate, then we need to talk about all the other responsibilities that women normally have and how they balance both. But at the end of the day, like, me being a woman in real estate shouldn't make or break a conversation. So I have a lot more to share during wealth building. Does anyone have any other questions that I can answer for you for the team meeting portion?
Okay, so my question is, like, I like the way that you, like, planning those accounts and profit and all that. Do you have an account for each of them, or?
Those are literally, like my bank fees, I have so many different accounts. My bank really doesn't love me because I have that many different accounts, but that's literally what I do. Like it is, when I put the check mark, that means it's checking, the S means it's savings. That's how they're all structured.
And you have them either you like a business or personal?
So that's a business account. So when I said the first step I would do is go start an LLC, then you're gonna go to your bank and open up a bank account in the LLC's name. Then all of those are within that account number. Yeah.
So then you're paying yourself, right, because it's LLC, you're employed by your LLC, so you're paying yourself out of your personal money where you can go pay your own.
Which we'll talk more about in the wealth building hour, but then so once you make over again, I am not an accountant, okay, like, I feel like I should have to say that before I say anything. But once you're making over $75,000 in gross commission income, you should for sure have an LLC, and I would argue you should have yourself on payroll. So by putting yourself on payroll, you actually start paying those employment taxes, and then you avoid self-employment tax by like $16,000 last time I looked into it. So a couple years ago, a team member of mine had a really great year in real estate, and I think it was just over $120,000 in income. That year, we both filed our taxes. I know this because she shared it with me. She paid more in taxes than I did, and I made a lot more than she did. But by structuring this thing, now there are other components to that. I invest in state, I invest in instruments that reduce my taxable income. Our taxes, if you actually add it up, your taxes are your largest expense. Like income tax, property tax, like let's just keep going, right? The only thing that we're break on is clothing, which we do. But yeah, So really focusing on how to legally reduce your taxable income is the best strategies.
So you're talking about a gift card.
Well, what happens, to be simple, is my accountant files my taxes at an S corporation.
I also love this option as a lender, because then when you come and ask to buy a house after your first or second year, you're very organized and easy to get approved.
Bookkeeping is so important. Because I see so many people go, I don't need a bookkeeper, I can do it myself. But if your books aren't kept correctly, you're not, like, your taxes won't, you can't do it to the extent that you could if your books were correct. So it all plays into itself. The other thing I'll say is, I believe as realtors, if you're on a team or a single agent, we all should have what's called a board of directors. So my board of directors has my accountant, my financial advisor, my go-to lender, and my business coach. All 4 of them I consult before I make a big investment. Here's why. When you legally reduce your taxable income like I have, and then I go to my lender and I say, yeah, but I want to buy another duplex for like $700,000, she's like, you don't qualify, right? So they all actually have to work together for me to keep building. So don't do this on your own, like have a board of directors. I also always have a very clear financial plan at the beginning of the year. How much income do I plan to make on my own sales? How much income am I going to make from my business profit by the team that I own and run? My ancillaries, my real estate, how is that all going to pay in? Then how am I going to invest it to reduce the tax?
This is for
Yep,
lender,
yep.
accountant.
Lender, accountant, financial advisor, and my business coach.
Yeah, hey, so I know you do a lot of book writing. I know you do a lot of investment property. Do you prefer duplexes, triplexes, or single family homes? Do you have a preference?
Fast answer, I love multifamily,
Yep.
but I'll house hack anything if the numbers. We're gonna talk about that in.
Okay.
Good luck, user. Right after this. I was just gonna share, I am terrible with numbers, and I do a system very similar to what Bethany does with the different accounts. I take it one step farther, Bethany. My tax account is at a different bank.
Yeah, totally could do that.
Otherwise, I will rob.
Yeah, you gotta, well, we gotta hide our money from ourselves, we really do.
It's amazing how when you actually do see it for some reason, you're like, holy cow, look at all that money that I saved that I didn't ever miss because I didn't think about it.
Yeah, and if you wanted to get real into it, your tax account could also be a money market account, because then it will make money. Money market accounts right now are like 4, 5, 6%. So, have that work for you as it's accumulating before you pay.
Once we find good intro deals on opening that account too, we just, I'm on the board for our hockey association and we just got a really good deal on one too, so.
And you save your,
All of these days.
or you save your taxes in a high yield savings account, like T-bills or something.
Mine's just a money market with my credit union, yeah. Yep. And with that too, I don't ever touch the full 20. So what happens at the end of the year, once they're paid, or end of the year being, I will say this, I always file an extension. So for me, it is always the end of the year. But once I pay it, there's always money left over because I've had myself on payroll. So that payroll really reduces that amount, but I always put it there because it can really depend on how your investments go. Like last year, I flipped a house and arguably I lost money on the investment. Even though I walked away from closing with a check, the way my taxes will read is a loss because of how long I carried it and some other things. So depending on if you have certain write-offs or not, I might need the 20. So I want it there just in case, but the goal is to obviously not need it. And then what you would do is you would take that money and move it to your profit account where you're then reinvesting.
Okay, so I take. Interesting, I'm sorry. Okay, so I run everything through a charge card instead of an operating account. I take my profit and I split it to what the team contributed and then my own. And then I take everything and run it off my charge card. And I pay it off religiously every month. So I get $4,000 to $5,000 a year in gasoline cards for my RV.
Because of who
Why wouldn't you do that?
because I know myself and I just choose not to ever put myself or my business in a position. Now, to be clear, I have 4 months of reserves in savings. And we're gonna talk about that later. It's just how I've chosen to do it. And the credit union I work with, I do get points. And so for me, it's like, I'm a creature of habit in the sense it works really well for me and that's not a hill I'm willing to die on right now. There was something else though that you said that triggered something and now I'm forgetting it. Yeah, wasn't that important, but. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, great. Like Bethany said, she's teaching a class right after this, so stick around my watch instead. I don't know why I looked at it. Grab a donut if you need to, grab your lunch, and come back in. She'll be starting around 12:30, I suppose, so a couple minute break here, 2-minute break. All right, thanks, everybody.